Has anyone ever made you pick between difficult choices? Make you do something that you would have never done before? And did you trust them at the moment, only later to find out that you were wrong to do so? That's exactly why Akiyama states to doubt everyone. In this video, we're going to be talking about manipulation, specifically what manipulation and deception is, practical steps to catch manipulation before it has any effect at all, and how to apply it in real life. That way, you're immune to the effects of deception entirely. So first we're going to define what manipulation and deception actually are, and then explain the difference between both of them, because a lot of people think that they're the same thing. So deception is creating false pictures inside people's minds. So it can be lying, it can be omitting something, it could be framing an argument a certain way. But what it ends up doing is creating the wrong conclusion of what people think is the only one. So you don't have to actually lie in order to deceive people. You just have to control like what they're perceiving and what they're viewing reality as. Now the difference is manipulation is using lies or omissions or anything else to steer someone toward a decision that they didn't voluntarily make themselves, something that has been generated for them by you or by someone else, but it makes them feel like they made that choice. So it just requires controlling what someone is focused on and what feels urgent, and most importantly, what they think their options actually are. So limiting options is a huge variable here. Now to explain the difference a little bit more, it's basically what each one targets. So now I'm going to explain the difference a little bit more clear. So deception targets what you actually believe, and then manipulation targets what you do. So a lie that's told, let's say, to get you to perceive me in a different way, that's deception without manipulation, because I'm just changing the picture, changing the framing. Now, when I manufacture urgency, let's say, to cause you to make a decision very quickly, let's say I'm causing pressure within your psyche, that's manipulation without deception. Now, obviously, it gets a lot more grayer than this. Usually, you're always going to have them overlapping, but there's a clear distinction between them. And when they work together, the deception is what makes the manipulation very invisible, because you feel like you're deciding for yourself when the picture is the only one that you've been allowed to see by another person. So if someone's causing you to think a certain way and you act upon that belief, that's both of them working together, which gets very problematic. So this is where you have to weaponize the curiosity. Don't just answer the questions that people are asking you, but ask yourself, why is this person asking me this question specifically? And what is it telling me about their personality? What is it telling me about their psyche? And it was specifically Akiyama who said that people should be doubted. And this is healthy skepticism. And that is why Akiyama is near impenetrable against acts of manipulation and deception. He's very good at seeing through people. And by doubting people to further understand them, you gain the ability to detect instances of manipulation and deception as you try to understand them. And this is led by the curiosity to truly understand people. Akiyama states that trusting people blindly is actually the most cruel thing you can do to someone, because you don't care about them. It's a true sign of apathy. And in order to care about someone, you have to doubt with what they say is real. Who is this person truly? Who is this person deeper down? And he utilizes his potent capacity to think and reason in order to naturally understand people. And by asking the right questions about people like Akiyama, you will find yourself more resistant to manipulation and deception. Now, the second habit is understanding yourself and the self. And the category this utilizes is emotional intelligence. So now that you're asking the right questions, you have to get the tools in order to effectively answer those questions. This is where emotional intellect comes into the picture. Emotional intellect can be utilized to understand and perceive the emotions of any person potentially manipulating you. However, that is not the only use that it has. It can also be used to understand them, subsequently to manage your own emotions. So let's take Ainakoji, for example. So when he manipulates people, he doesn't use magic, but instead he understands the desires and the motivations of other people, and he uses those desires against themselves by directing people toward their own goals, but on his own terms. So things that you may be unconscious of and things that you may not even understand about yourself, he's able to intuitively grasp them. He was able to understand who you are better than yourself. And when someone is able to understand who you are better than yourself, there's a huge gap that allows them to basically pry on that weakness, because you are not going to be able to defend yourself against someone who understands you better. So by mastering the capacity to understand and manage your own emotions, you'll gain the ability to be resistant to people giving you false promises and overall taking away your autonomy. Because if someone's controlling you unconsciously, that they're reaching for a desire that you don't even know you have, you're not acting on your own accord. And that's literally like the basis of manipulation, when someone's imposing their will on you. So what most people end up doing is they end up behaving with their instincts and unconscious actions, and they don't really think things through. If you get them in a situation where they have to think very quickly, usually they'll result in first order thinking, where they will continuously just say whatever in their unconscious or subconscious mind. And understanding that and understanding your unconscious helps utilize the behavior you have and allows you to manage your own emotions, like greed. The best practice for this specifically, I'd say, is equanimity, which allows you to understand your emotions as like they're flowing through you, not so much as identifying with them. What equanimity tries to describe is that emotions are more like a passing wave rather than something that is who you are. A lot of people like to say, I am sad, but the correct way of framing that is, I am experiencing sadness. And when you're able to frame it like that, you don't identify with the emotion. So even saying stuff like, I am depressed, it's a huge mistake because you're identifying with such emotions. So the first step is always to understand that and understanding the emotions. And when you're able to start being more fluid with them, like practices using equanimity, then you become a lot more able to resist the effects of manipulation, targeting those specific emotions. Now, the final habit is logically comprehending a situation, and this is mainly focusing on the category of perception. Manipulation isn't just emotions, and not just an emotional game, but a logical one too. People can be logically manipulated into carrying out a series of actions that are in accordance with the will of a person and the manipulation of the situation itself. So this is what we call framing. And framing is when I'm giving you options that are not the full picture, when I'm giving you a false dilemma, when I'm giving you an issue that doesn't even exist. So for example, let's say I said that this person was suspicious for doing this action. I'm putting doubts into your mind that shouldn't even exist. And I'm framing a situation that doesn't really even have any grounding. So being able to see through that is going to utilize perception. So training perception is very important. A good example for this would be Yuichi Kategori. And he doesn't simply manipulate people, but first he deceives the people by using the context of the situation, and then strikes with a potent form of manipulation predicated on the deception implicit in the situation. So by logically comprehending a situation, you already gain the ability to discern the premises of the situation itself, understanding what premise 1 is, premise 2, how does these things logically follow. So a good way to actually study this is by simply studying college philosophy textbooks. It sounds very simple, very boring, but it's a very good way to understand. Now, if I told you to get into Immanuel Kant immediately, I don't really think that you would really understand what he's trying to say. So understanding the concepts of philosophy, understanding the concepts of logic, fallacies, it's all about really just improving your ability to comprehend logic itself. That way we understand more of how these situations play out. Does this actually make sense, or am I being targeted emotionally to do this? And sometimes the premises might not even follow. So when you start to analyze and you start to pick up on those fallacies, you start to understand that, hey, something's a little bit off and maybe we should reevaluate here. And maybe we should hone in on this exact behavior to get a better picture of what this person's actually trying to do. So in doing all this, you can get the capacity to step away from the situation and critically analyze what is going on beneath the layers of the social facade. And this can help anyone be more resistant to forms of manipulation. So we're going to now cover how to use all three in sequential order. So first, like we mentioned earlier, was the utilization of curiosity. So use your curiosity as a weapon. Try to ask questions that may break the framing entirely. Sometimes one question is all it takes to get an answer that literally shuts the entire person down. Then after that, you want to understand yourself. I'd say understanding the self might be even like a foundational layer, but to understand yourself, understand your emotions. So you're not being able to, so no one's able to take advantage of whatever is unconscious to you. So these are things like understanding your shadow, understanding your complexes, which is something that we teach a lot here. And it's a very useful thing to actually work on. So take time to yourself. Try to ask yourself the hard questions. What are you avoiding? And usually that's what people are able to target the most with this deceptive behavior. And then finally, being able to logically comprehend a situation. So looking beyond the framing and looking within the framing as well, looking at what premises are following from such framing and the situation itself to see how people could manipulate you. So the server for power queues in the description. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.